Welcome to the magnificent world of Stranded. This is a freeware 3D survival game for Windows XP developed by just one person, a German called Peter Schaus, all the way back in the year 2003. Wait a minute, that means this game is now legally old enough to do porn. Anyways, since the game is from the middle ages of gaming, the default settings will most likely make the game run unbearably slow, even on modern hardware. You want to tweak them to enhance the gameplay experience and achieve the pinnacle of graphical fidelity. To not bother you with this boring crap right now, there will be a rundown at the very end of the video after completing the game, how and what to change. What you have just witnessed is the feature used to search for resources, which clumsy people like to activate at the most opportune moments, which results in them casually getting mauled by lions. They are, to my knowledge, the only predators you have to worry about. Well, at least on this island. Also, keep in mind that once you initiated the search, you can only cancel it by death. Yes, just forget what is common in games nowadays or what you would consider logical or accessible game design. This game here slaps all these concepts in the face and gives them a good old veggie. Originally released in German, this version here is an English translation with some minor hiccups here and there. At the start you can choose between different game modes. Random Island, which I'm currently playing, but also Kiwi Rescue, Raptor Hunt, Sea Race, Christmas and Ödland, which means wasteland in English. I will only do the video about the first game mode, because the others make as much fun as slowly pushing a rusty fork into your eye socket. You might ask yourself why I'm coming back to this game in 2021, and to that I can answer, this was part of my childhood. For some great nostalgia and also to find out how dumb I really was as a kid, I'm diving back in. Also, let me tell you that back in the day, me and a friend were playing this on a horribly bad notebook. Today you would instantly get admitted to the nearest asylum if you ever played on such an abomination, on grounds of self-harm. Unfortunately, there is no setting to change the size of the UI, so you better fetch a microscope if you're playing on today's common monitor resolutions. We just reached our first goal, which is meeting up with Snoop Dogg. He and the native are the only other humans on the entire island. Both of these NPCs are used for trading. This swell fella trades you tools in exchange for weed, and the native trades you levels in exchange for bread. Currently I'm trying to figure out how trading works. It's not really intuitive and I forgot everything I learned back then. We will come back to it in a few minutes. Time for a quick power nap and explaining the stats in the bottom left corner. Stranded requires you to keep track of 4 bars: energy, fatigue, hunger and thirst. Energy is just another word for health. Fatigue can be reset by sleeping, what you are doing right now. With food you can cope with hunger, and against thirst you have to drink from the fountains we have already seen. You better not destroy those with the hammer you will get later on, or will die of thirst. While sleeping, I suddenly remembered again how to initiate the trade. It's neither a key you press when you stand near the NPC or when you face it with the cursor, nor is it something you find in the inventory menu with the items you wanna trade. Instead, it's a context-sensitive entry in the player menu, only showing up when you stand near the NPC. Really very intuitive. Those old games have a special place in my heart. The reason I'm staring at the trade menu like I'm brain dead is because I'm really confused right now. After a while I realized that something is wrong. There is an error in the translation. Both the net and the axe got translated as a net. We need to trade for 50 wheat to get us a good old axe. The next thing I do now is picking up all the wheat growing here, which is by the way the only place it spawns, and plant it again, so I can triple the amount I'll have after it grows for 2 days. Brace yourself for a lot of spam clicking. Now it's time to search for resources and craft our first tools. Searching is context sensitive, and depending where you stand or look right now, you will get different stuff. Currently I need me some branches and stones, so I can build a hammer and a spear. The latter are single use and will kill anything in just one hit. After getting that done, it's time to start my genocide crusade against the lions. I just pick up its meat, drink up while listening to beautiful stock sounds, and then start searching for another resource I need for our next craft. And that are lianas. They are the bane of my existence, and to this very day I still don't know how to reliably get those from trees. Once I get some, I just spam search while not moving the cursor. If anybody of you is a professional Surrender player, let me know in the comments how this works. Somehow it's already time again for bed. That's one of the things I really hate about this game. You have to spend far too much time caring about your training stats instead of exploring the island. Combining a branch and a liana, you can craft a slingshot. It enables you to launch pebbles at your mortal enemies. With the same two items you can also craft a fishing pole. If you have any worm in your inventory, your odds will be increased to 100% to catch a fish, which is probably the fastest and most reliable way to get food in this game. Just as a quick side note, technically you could get the axe also if you kill the old man. And now to the most important tool of them all, the net. With it you can catch butterflies and release them again, I guess. The native lives right next door to the old man, owns a fancy obelisk and can give you experience to level your energy or strength, the latter allowing you to carry more weight. It's time to make our first building, a simple tent. I'll just cut out all the boring resource gathering and just show the finished buildings. And that's what the finished tent looks like, and it practically serves no real purpose other than unlocking other buildings when built. Now to something of importance, a campfire. It allows you to cook your meat, dough and fish to restore more energy when consumed. When you combine wheat and leaf, you will descend upon consumption and be able to communicate with turtles. Those haven't been correctly translated as well. Probably makes it even weirder for someone who doesn't speak German. Time to gather some logs for the treehouse. As you can see, chopping down trees just looks as amazing as it does in games like The Forest. Building a treehouse is, as a matter of fact, just a huge flex, because it doesn't provide any benefit compared to just climbing a tree and sleeping on top. It just wastes precious time you could have been absorbing the scenic landscape. And now to the food storage. There isn't much to talk about here. You just store your food and eat it later, instead of carrying it with you all around the time and wasting your limited capacity. One of the very last buildings is the fish net. It automatically catches a fish every once in a while for you to just loot and eat. Just be careful to not drink seawater instead of looting. The second to last thing I can show you is the torch. It provides a little light in the dark, but its main purpose is being a landmark. At last we built the final construction, a raft. With it we can sail around and actually finish the game by getting away from the island. You start using it like everything else with an entry in the play menu. Also make sure to accidentally start fishing for good luck. When you get far enough away from the island you automatically win. It will take some time though, so be prepared. I speed it up by a lot here. As soon as the color of the water changes to the same as in pools for toddlers, you're done. In the final moments of the game I want to take the time and say that even though the game is really janky and strange at times, you have to keep in mind that the tools and knowledge back in the day were not as easily available as today. Big thanks to the creator of this gen who released it completely free of charge. I also learned that there has been a release of Stranded 2 and 3 which I never knew about. I might give those a try in the near future. Seems like you made it through the video without going insane. Like I said at the very start, it's about configuring the game now so it runs on modern machines. There is a file called settings CFG, and in this file you can change the X and the Y resolution of the game. You have to do this via this file because the game itself only has hard-coded resolutions for rather old monitors. And also what you can change here, and as well as you can change it in-game, is the color depth. I had to change it because the default value here is 16, and it seems if the color depth of the game doesn't match the color depth which your operating system uses, it really lags hard. If you still have problems running the game, you might want to try a program called dxwnd. This thing intercepts system calls to the Turing APIs and makes things possible which the game settings menu doesn't even offer you. You will probably have to fiddle around a bit, but it's totally worth it, and sometimes it's the only solution available anyway.